Hello and welcome. I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
This is NTVN, New Tech Vintage Nerds. Today we're going to talk about LLMs
What?
and why they're useful. Yes, they are useful sometimes. So, I think we should roll the intro.
Roll that intro.
So, before we're going to talk about LLMs and if they're useful and how they are useful, what did you automate this week?
Something stupid, Bailey.
Want to talk about it? No.
Well, I used to have one of my plug-in switches broke. So doesn't work anymore. And I bought another one, but it didn't really fit all the devices that I had plugged in there.
Mm-hmm.
So now I was left with one monitor who actually does the security cams. I've got a security display in my office which shows all the security cams. And, well, that didn't work anymore.
Okay.
So I had to buy another plug-in switch thingy. And I installed that and that worked, but I forgot actually to tie it into the original workflow. So I was lazy and now I just tied it to the button display on my desk. So in the morning when I come down, I have to push that button to actually switch on the display, but it does work.
Well, pushing a button is okay. I mean, it's more
It's
than
not
nothing.
really, well, it doesn't fit my philosophy for home automation because it's not automated. It's just, it's a lazy man's switch, basically.
Yeah, but it's step one.
Yeah, if you really automate it, when I come in, it should automatically come on. But yeah, well,
I agree.
that is something I'll probably do next week because it will probably annoy the hell out of me at some point. And what did you automate this week?
I automated something for the, what you call it in English, the WTW.
I don't think that's English.
Heat reclamation. We got a almost airtight house, and because of that, there's also a constant need for fresh air. So there's a, what you call it, the blower that's blowing air into the house and sucks out the old air.
Yeah.
I see pictures in my head. It's not conveying on camera or on audio.
It's HVAC without the coolant.
And without the heating.
Yeah, it's just air circulation, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's air conditioning without the cooling and heating.
And what did you automate about that?
Well, apparently those things have a management board, and I really like management boards because then you can manage things. And I bought something where I can automate that thing. So now when we go to bed, the system is automatically placed into the night mode. And when we wake up, it's automatically placed into day mode. And when we leave the house, it's automatically turned off. And when we come back, it's turned on. That's one of the features that I automated already. So it's basically only runs when it needs to run, prolonging the life of the fans that are in that device. One of the other things that comes with that is that I can now automatically turn on the system when we shower or when we start cooking. Because of when we do those things, there needs to be an air circulation that extracts all the moisture of the room, and it will push that to the outside.
But isn't that a system that should always run?
Yes and no. It always runs, but it's got 3 modes: low, medium, and high.
Yeah.
The house is standard on medium. When you start showering or when you start cooking, you put it on high. and when you go to bed, it is on low. The guy that does the maintenance for that device says there's no need to put it on medium during the night, because what it does, it filters the air, so it already pushes in the fresh air. That's enough, but it also filters the air, and that only needs to happen during the day, because the fine particles only happen during the day, because you walk through the house, you lift things, you put things down. So for the filtering, it's enough that it's on low during the night.
I would say that if you want to refresh the air in the building so that when you wake up, you come back, or you wake up to a house full of fresh air, I would expect it to put it on medium or high overnight.
Well, actually, the system does enough during the night to put in fresh air.
To recycle everything that's in. Oh.
Normally, it's about 8 or 10 times the total volume that gets refreshed every hour.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when you do it at the night at 30% or less, then it still recycles all the air, but less frequently, because you're not in most rooms. You're only in the bedroom. Well, actually, I don't know. I sleep at night, so probably we're both at the bedroom.
Sounds like a Schrodinger's cat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things, that the clean air gets filtered and gets refreshed.
Yeah.
So it turns off when we go out, saving power, saving the fans. But when we start cooking, it automatically starts. Well, not now, but it will automatically start. Put it on the third mode
level.
High, yeah.
So how does it know when you start cooking?
For now, it says a Nabu. I use Nabu Casa for this with the Home Assistant voice assistant. So I say, hey, Nabu, I start cooking, or I'm going to take a shower. And by that, it automatically turns it on. And when I'm done...
It's a bit cheating, isn't it?
Yeah, like I said, step 1.
Okay.
Steps 2 and 3 are based on the power usage of the... what's it called? The thing above the stove, the filter, the suction thing above the stove. Oh, my English is great today. Well, actually, another air filter above the stove. I am going to monitor the power usage of that thing, so I know when you turn it on, and then I can automatically steer the air filtration.
Exactly. When you put on the air circulation for cooking, you can assume, or you can safely assume, I'm going to start cooking. Otherwise, I wouldn't switch it on.
Exactly. Yeah, for showering, the same. I can monitor the light when the lights are on in the shower, or the humidity in the bathroom.
I'd say the second one, because throughout the day, I don't know. I mean, it depends on however you have your home facilitated. But if you do laundry or whatever, I mean, you go into the bathroom maybe either to pick up laundry, or maybe your washing machine is in the bathroom or whatever. And then every time you would switch on the fan, so that would be annoying. But if you do it on humidity in the bathroom, or also that would be a cool use case for an air leakage sensor.
Yes, it would. The issue, not really an issue, but what the maintenance guy said, you want a negative pressure in the bathroom or in the shower.
Yeah, otherwise the air is not going to be sucked out.
Exactly. But you want it prior taking a shower, because then
Yeah, the
the
same
air
thing with
already
cooking, though.
flows.
Yeah, same thing with cooking, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So when you
you should actually
say,
switch it on before you start cooking or before you go
exactly.
in. Yeah.
So when you do it by, I'm measuring the humidity, you're in already too late.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what is going to be presence detection when you're longer than 2 minutes in the bathroom or something like that.
Well, it's maybe a case for a microwave sensor.
Microwave, yeah.
Millimeter wave, sorry, not microwave.
Microwave.
It's hot in the shower.
Yeah, electricity and water don't mix.
No, but maybe one for millimeter wave.
Yeah, that's a
If
good
the
thing.
person is in the area where we have mounted the shower, we can safely assume this person is going to take a shower, switch on the fan.
Yeah, and when you say different zones, then you're splitting when you're at the sink or in the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Thank you for giving me a buying reason. I needed one.
Sorry, more gadgets.
Yep.
I'll apologize to your wife later.
Yeah. I'm going to prep her for tomorrow. Yeah. Good.
Very good.
So that's automation. Large language models.
Large language models.
What did you already do with large language models? Do you know what it
apart
is?
Apart from experimenting with them once, nothing.
Cool. I experimented a lot.
I am still looking for the use case of having a local chat GPT in my house. I haven't found it yet.
Did you find a use case for ChatGPT in general?
No. Well, no, that's not true. There are. Maybe I'm a bad example, and I'm aware of that because I'm maybe a bit too privacy sensitive, aware. When I look at what you can do with AI, specifically with AI that is on the internet, I'm very reserved in terms of data I present to that. So what have I done with public versions of ChatGPT? Well, not a whole lot. I've asked it a couple of history questions, and it was funny to see the answer. Let's put it like that. But not everything was. Well, I mean, there are versions of the truth, I'm aware, but that's some things that it claims to be true.
Yeah.
Well, would be up for debate, I'd say.
And that's logical. I mean, the whole idea is that it's
as clever as we make it.
It predicts the next word or sentence that is going to tell you. It's not really knowing anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I ask something about, I don't know, the history of my country, then I mean, some stuff should be known, right? I mean, it should be indexed and it should be able to reproduce that. But apparently,
That's not how it works.
No, well, it's not. That's not how the. Yeah. Well, anyway.
No, but that's a fundamental question or understanding of LLMs for people, because yes, it is trained on all the data, but it doesn't really know what to tell. I mean, there are systems like a large language model combined with a database where it can pull out information, RAG, if I'm not mistaken. Well, I'm going to put the description in the description box because I forgot it. But then you ask something, it tries to guess or analyze what you want to know. Then it will ask the database, hey, give me this information. And then it represents it to you in a normal language. That's the only way, to my knowledge, that you can really get an answer that's correct. Because what it does now is it's learned learned within quotes, air quotes even, what it means. It predicts what it should say next to the word that was coming before. With that, it can do a lot of things, and it seems like it really knows what it's talking about, but it's not an it. It's just a computer program, and it predicts nothing more, nothing less. So that it's putting out information that is correct is a miracle. And even when it doesn't put out the real answer, but something it hallucinates, it looks like it knows what it's talking about. And that's the problem, I think, with large language models in general.
It's a serious danger. I mean,
Yeah.
the AI hallucination is not a joke. That is a real thing.
Yeah. And I mean, if you say, if it learns you can make a pizza with, and that's actually an example that came up during testing. If you got a recipe for a pizza and you put things on it like pineapple, you shouldn't do that. But anyway,
depends on who you ask.
It's in the documentation or in the page that it was indexing, it said, don't use WD-40 on a pizza in a certain way. One of the answers that ChatGPT gave in, I believe it's a preview version, yes, you can put WD-40 on a pizza and it will make it better. And it put it like there, like it's the truth. I mean, if you don't know what WD-40 is, it's going to be a health risk.
It will be an interesting pizza.
That's for sure. So that's why I said you need to know what the large language model is or what it does before you can start actually trying to think a use case for you. In a sense,
so I haven't found it yet, but you did.
I did.
You've been working with local AI for quite some time.
Yes, I am. I used online versions like ChatGPT and Midjourney for image generation, and like you said, it's about, I don't want to put all the information into the chatbot, knowing or not knowing what it's going to do with that. So I want to do it locally. There are a couple of language models that you can run locally if you have enough memory in your video card, because it can run on your video card. It can run against your CPU, but it takes a long time.
It depends on the CPU. There are now coming out. Well, I think AMD has released one or two that have a fairly powerful engine on board.
Yeah, but that's also a specific engine for neural processing, like AI.
Yeah, exactly. I think Intel will probably not be far behind in the next gen.
I think so. No, that's really interesting because you can run it on a CPU. It takes forever. If you got an NPU, it will run faster, but you still need memory because the whole language model can be around gigabytes in size.
Yeah.
And you can run
that I did notice.
Yeah. And you can run it on your video card as long as a video card is supported by the software where you're using.
Yeah, the thing is, it's not as adaptable yet that you would put it in a box on the I don't know, on your desk or something, right?
Almost.
I mean, I haven't seen it yet. Let's put it like that. I know that Nvidia's got the what's it called?
Hopper?
No, the specific chips for it, Jetsons.
Oh yeah, Jetsons. Yeah.
So yeah, and I know that they have this small Jetson Nano, which can do quite a bit in that perspective. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to attach it to your home automation and you wanted to run it locally, you would have to have a fairly powerful machine to do that. And I don't know. I mean, that would be a serious blocker for me.
Yeah, you need a powerful system.
Yeah.
I run it. I have two systems that can run AI stuff. One is my Windows computer with RTX 2080 Super with 8 gigabytes of, I was going to say RAM, but memory.
Video RAM.
Yeah. And it runs pretty good.
Okay.
And I also got a Mac Mini M4 that also is capable of running the same large language model. And the funny thing is that, well, actually, that was not the starting price, but for the $599 starting price, you can already start. I sound like a salesman. Cool. For $599, you can run a large language model on a Mac Mini, and it does it pretty well.
Okay.
And then you got a computer that you can run normal stuff, but also that large language model. So, that's
in terms of usability, I know that there are because everyone was expecting after ChatGPT 4 we would just get ChatGPT 5. Well, I saw a funny comic last week that's not the case.
Nope.
We now have various versions of ChatGPT version 4.
Yeah.
And I noticed that they have the LLMs that are extracted from that are different in size and different in performance demand. Can you shed a bit of light on that?
No.
Oh.
Well, now there's a large language model, and you can tune and tweak that model based on the number of parameters. There's a lot of parameters. So that's also what you see with the large language models. For example, Llama 3.2, that's the one from Meta that you can run locally, is in a variant of 1 billion parameters, 3 billion, and I think 8 billion parameters. And all those parameters together make it a good, well, between air quotes, a good model or a simpler model where it can do less or make less sense in some cases.
Can you say that it would be the difference between good and usable?
For some, yes. Actually, that also depends on the use case. If you want a writing companion, then you need something that's good in language and that has a lot of vocabulary. If you just want to do small things like you want to control your home based on your voice and you want to do intelligent looking stuff, then you can use a simpler model. So it's really depending on the use case.
And the more parameters that the model has, the more extensive it is, and the better it will be equipped to give you a valid or usable response.
Yes.
Check. Okay. And the more parameters it has, the larger the model gets, and the larger the model gets, the more problematic it will be to push it in the memory of, well, whatever you use to run it. Exactly. Either your video card or the NPU or I don't know.
That's why you now see the micro models of Gemini or OpenAI or even Apple that can run locally on device. If you got something larger, then you can run it on your own server. And if it's even bigger, then you run it in the cloud. That's often the case.
So could you say that if I would have one system that runs AI, I could have multiple applications leverage that?
Yes, you could. That's how I run it at home.
Okay. So I don't need an instance of ChatGPT for my home automation, and then one for my image analysis, and one for my writing companion, and one for I could just get a big one and use it for everything.
Yeah, you could. It all depends on how many instances run on a certain system. So, for example, and that's really where I use it for. I use it for writing or creating a outline. I'm working on a video on my replacement for my Home Assistant computer. Nice topic for next time. Where I say to the large language model, this is what I want to accomplish. I want to write or publish something about the computer, differences, what I'm going to test. Give me an outline. And it generates an outline where I can fill in the blanks with regular text. At the same time, I'm just checking how it's called now. That was the Hoarder app. It's Carekeep. It had a rebranding.
Yeah, they changed the name, and I noticed this.
So Hoarder has the possibility to collect your links, do a screen capture, and with AI do a summary and what those things called, tags. So I did I put a link in for, I'm just looking down now, a 3 pieces ESP32 breakout board where you can put out the ESPs. It automatically did a description, and it said it's hardware, it's development boards, and it's electronic devices, without telling me what those tags should be.
Yeah.
So that's pretty useful. I had something for AEJU's plugins where it says content creation, VFX software, and video editing tools. And I can search on tags without ever putting in the tags in the first place.
Okay, that's good.
Those things are running at the same time.
Yeah, on the same model.
On the same model.
Okay, that's good.
At the same time, at the third time, I'm running the Home Assistant instance with a large language model support, so it knows what I want to do, and I can ask it, what's the weather going to be? And should I bring my umbrella? Then it actually can do the normal ChatGPT stuff and give me a complete answer instead of yes, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
But that's something that currently voice assistants like Siri or Alexa already can do. Well, yeah, it's not really context sensitive, is it?
Exactly. So I can ask how many lights are on in the house. Then it will tell me. I could say, and I haven't tried it, when it's dark, give me when the lights are out, count the number of doors that are open, for example. It should be able to do that because it understands the language, and it could count all the different things based on my sentence.
Right.
I'm not really sure if it's useful, but it should be able to do that. So it's really those 3 use cases I use at the same time on the same computer, hardly without any downside other than the system needs to be on and responding.
Yeah, and it's not an easy system that you need for this, right? I mean, it's a fairly bulky system.
Yeah, and since the Windows computer does all the work now, I started using the Mac Mini for that, but apparently if I run the software, it slows down in my video processing. So
Okay. But
so
that
really
may be
nice.
an Apple M chip thing.
Yeah, or a me thing. That's also possible.
Yes, of course. Well, you already touched a bit on it, but so what is the use case for AI in combination with home automation. Why would I want AI in my home, linked to my home automation? What is the benefit?
The way it works now, or most of the time, is that your home automation system only knows about what's in it and what you put in it. Like, I have a light in my study and I have given it a name, light in the study. Home Assistant only knows about that device with that name. I could say, turn on lights in the study because the area is studied, there are lights in it, so it understands the lights. That's all good and well. That works. If you want to do more, for example, what's going to be on TV tonight, it doesn't understand that. So for a assistant type of thing, it doesn't work. Or a general assistant thing, it doesn't work well. You could do the combination of things like turn on the lights if it's dark outside. You could program that in a sentence, in an automation. Wow, dude, automation system. But it's hard, or it's harder in this context. So by the addition of a large language model, you can use more language to say it what you want, and it also is able to do a better job in conveying the information to you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So I mean, maybe I'm not the best use case because I've already automated a lot, and
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of stuff in this house is already working.
yeah, the same here. So
So, but for someone who would start and he could just tell Homey or Home Assistant, can you create a flow where when it gets dark, the lights in the living room automatically turn on?
yeah,
And it would just do that rather than what I did in the past, and you probably also, with much effort, create a workflow based on a number of variables that you predefined or not.
yeah, and even when it's going to do that, I would also say you just do it yourself, because the basics of automation, home automation, is responding to sensors, output from other systems, etc.,
Yeah,
and
but you
doing
can
something with
integrate
that.
that.
Yeah.
I would say.
So I don't see a large language model or AI as a replacement for that, more as an addition. I can ask the AI, and that's how I use it most of the time. How can I do this, or help me reach my goal? I started writing an application for or a program for um, how do I put out the information of my energy systems, make a calculation for me. What's the best choice? Do I need an additional battery in the house? We don't have one yet. Or is it just useless, and is it more expensive to do that? So I asked the AI, you're a software developer and your job is to help me create that software by asking me questions. And when I say go, then you provide me with a list of things I need to do, a list of things I need to consider, and then you help me write the code. So I'm still the developer, still the programmer of the tool, but it helps me, well, in essence, to create the architecture of the application and every step that I need to take in that. So it's more a co-worker than somebody that does my job for this.
It's a secretary.
Mm, More a consultant. It
Secretary / consultant.
Yeah, okay. So it helps me put my thoughts on paper. It guides me. If I say I want to use the 12-factor principle for the application, what do I need to consider knowing that this system will be run on a Kubernetes platform? Then it will help me to do that. Then you should be stateless, whatever. And
Fortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sorry?
Fortunately, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Let's keep it that way. Well, the point was it helps me instead of that it does the job for me. And I think that's with home automation the same. It helps you to do certain things or create certain things instead of it doing stuff.
Yeah, I get that.
But the same with the Carekeep, the Hoarder. You still have to put things in that you want to keep, and it actually does a good job of I'm opening one. Oh, it didn't do something. I was going to say it does a pretty good job on writing a description, but I have to find one where it actually did that. Oh, that's MBOs. That's something else. Sorry. Open page AJ. Failed to fetch content. Okay, what a good example. Well, actually, it says the tags are automatically created. Management, objectives, workplace productivity, engagement strategies, performance enhancements.
Right.
I didn't give it that, but I can now search for that. It's pretty good. But
yeah,
if you want something more, then you add something to that.
So, I mean, for people out there who do not know, so Hoarder or Carekeep is an application that you run in your home lab, or I don't know, do they have a public version? I actually have no idea. Sure. But basically, it was called Hoarder in the past. It's now called Carekeep, which is a bit less negative, I guess. Which is well, it's not so much as a bookmarking service as it is an information gathering and a collection service. How should you think about that? You should think about, when you browse the web and you see a web page, you say, no, that is a good idea. I want to implement that in my home, or I want to, I don't know, you see something, a garden design. That is really nice. I really like that. I want to save that for the time that we are going to restructure or remodel our garden. So you take that link, you put it in Carekeep, and then you can save it and find it back later. And AI helps with analyzing the links or the pictures or the text that you paste in there. That would basically summarize what it does. I can highly recommend it. It's a very nice application. You can run it very easily in a couple containers. It doesn't really demand a lot of performance. No. It has plugins for Chrome, for iOS, for Android, for I don't know, a lot at least, and it works wonderfully. I have actually got quite a lot of content in there, and it's very easy to retrieve whatever you were looking for. So that is definitely a benefit.
Yeah.
And
there's also AJ. There's also a Safari plugin or app that you can use for.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, and you can enrich it with AI. I haven't done that yet, but AJ has. And then it will analyze the content for you and give it tags with which you can find it back or sort it, or if you have a tag called garden or garden design, then if you would search for garden or garden design, then the link that you previously entered there would pop up.
Yeah. I'm looking at garden. Yes, I did.
There you go.
Why it finds pro home cooks, I don't know. Garden cooking, probably.
Maybe.
No, but actually that's pretty useful. Yeah.
So, what other areas do you use your local Chat GPT for? Well, it's not. I'm saying this wrong, right? It's not local Chat GPT. It's a local AI.
Yeah, it's a local large language model because AI is a container thing. It's not. We call it AI, artificial intelligence, but it's machine learning. We learned its stuff. We teach it stuff, and now it knows things. So it's not really AI either. It's a large language model, and what you do with it, well, that's up to you.
Right.
So what I do with it, I started, and that's why I'm looking down for the viewers. I started my local web UI because there is an open web UI that actually looks a lot like the UI from OpenAI for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So it's really a chatbot where you can do stuff in. And let me see one.
Maybe silly question, but does it require internet?
Nope, it doesn't. For running it, you don't need internet. You need to pull it in because large language model comes from somewhere.
Yeah, so you download it from Meta or there are several.
Ollama in this case.
Yeah.
And then you pull in the large language model and it runs it locally, and there's no need to go outside your computer for that.
But when you ask it questions, it needs to look up, then obviously it needs to have access to the internet.
Well, actually, it doesn't look up anything because that's why I said a large language model doesn't know anything. It's a large language model that constructs sentences based on what it learned.
So, in terms of Nabukasa, the voice assistant that Home Assistant integrates. So how does that work then? Because if you ask it what's the weather tomorrow, it will give you an answer.
Yes, and for that you need to know you have a source that has that information. My Home Assistant, has the weather for tomorrow. That pulls it from, in our case, from Buienradar, and it puts
local
it
weather
in
service.
system.
Yeah,
it's like what is it called, black sky weather.
Yeah,
it pulls in that information and it puts it in sensor. So with everything in Home Assistant, it can create the answer if I give it access to those information, for that information. It doesn't need to go outside, and the large language model itself doesn't go outside of the box where it's in.
So if I ask it questions that it doesn't know the answer to, it will tell me it doesn't know the answer.
Or it makes up something.
Oh, that's charming.
That's the whole issue of large language models.
So what if I want to have a local AI that can ask questions to? What I mean, do I just link it up to Wikipedia, or how does that work?
There are a couple of ways. You can give it information, like I said, the rag, and I'm going to check what it was. Because you give it information, then it can retrieve. Probably DR is for retrieval. It can retrieve the information from that file or that document. Retrieval augmented generation. That's the official sentence. So it, like it says, it enables generative artificial intelligence models to retrieve and incorporate new information. So if you give it information, then you can use it. And there are various ways: a database, or what's now hot, an agent that goes out for you to retrieve information from other places. Then it will use that to give you the answer.
Right. So you will need an additional piece of software that gets the information for your local AI, and your local AI will then process the information and give it to you in understandable sentences.
Yeah. For example, the Open WebUI, I can upload a file to with every command I do, and I say, give me an answer and process that information that's in that file. So I asked, we got Ziggo internet at home, and I uploaded that document from Ziggo into the system, and I was able to ask him questions about my IP ranges and information that it got out of that document.
Right.
So that's more the way it works.
Okay.
The same goes actually for OpenAI, for ChatGPT. You have to give it permission to go out onto the internet with plugins, or you give it documents that it can process, and then it will actually know the information that's in it and can give you an answer. Otherwise, it's just a generation of text.
Yeah, out of the box, it's stupid.
Yeah, it has a lot of information, but it's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, it knows how to talk, but it doesn't know what to say.
And that's also what it said earlier. I'm not sure if it does now. If you ask him questions, for me it's a him. If you ask questions about the state of politics, it doesn't know it, and it will say, my information goes up to, December 2023, for example.
Right.
All the rest of the information that came after that, it doesn't know it.
Right.
So you can use all kinds of things to pull in that information. So you need a piece of software that can run that large language model. You need an agent or agents or a framework of agents that can pull out the other information you want. And that's it. Well, perhaps you need something like I'm using Web Open UI to chat with the large language
to interact
model. Yeah
Yeah.
Because that's also different for what you want to do. Carekeep has an API connection, and I as a user don't need to ask questions. I'm just putting in the information, and it will interact with a large language model, and it will do its stuff.
Yeah.
If I was going to do the same thing for video, then I might upload the video and it gave me all the items back. So it depends on what you want to do with it, how you can use it. For me, sorry?
All right.
Yeah. So it's really just do it, install it, download Ollama. And I'm now asking or talking to you, not to our listeners. Just download Ollama, start it, and start experimenting, because I don't think that it's going away. I do think that it's not the hype. Well, actually, it is the hype. It looks like to be, but it's really useful, and you can do a lot of things with it that help you do your own things, and it helps you generate ideas where you probably never thought about. Yeah, think about that. So, is that enough AI for today?
I think so.
Okay, then. Well, then I want to ask you, do you have a tip for today?
I was going to ask you.
Well, I already told you. Download Ollama and start using...
That's a bit of a cheap tip, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so let me look around. I already talked about that module for the air conditioning. Yeah, use a good computer for Home Assistant, but that's also a no-brainer. Yeah, I don't know. Perhaps you can go first.
Oh, well, in that case, let me go first then.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. So I don't really have a tip, but I've got a, well, it's not a tech tip, but it is a tech tip. I mean, we're the northern hemisphere, so we're running up to summer, and actually, it will be 25 degrees centigrade next week. So we're looking forward to that. I mean, finally, the weather will be a bit gentler than it was the last couple of weeks or months. Well, we had a lot of rain the last weeks.
Yeah.
But that's not the tip. The tip is I bought an ice cube machine. And this thing is actually very, well, it's clever. It's not intelligent. It's not smart. Thank heavens it isn't. So it doesn't require a Wi-Fi connection. But it's a clever machine because the way it works is that you put about 2 liters of water in, then it will use that water to create ice cubes. It will dump the ice cubes in a tray up front, but the water reservoir is actually below the tray. So while it's generating and creating ice cubes, the lower ones, the bottom ones, they obviously start to melt because the space where the ice cubes are captured is not chilled or cooled in any way. So the ice cubes themselves obviously chill that, but that's initially obviously not enough to sustain them.
Yeah.
But as they melt, they drip back into the reservoir, and then they are used again to exactly regenerate new ice cubes, which then will be put on top. So if you put roughly 2 liters of water in it, and then you would switch it on, and it has a timer, so you can say, okay, I don't need ice cubes for breakfast, but it'd be nice to have ice cubes in the hot afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So you tell it, switch on at noon, and then roughly half an hour later, you've got your first tray of ice cubes, and it will continue to provide you with ice cubes as long as there's water in the reservoir, and you can just tell it, okay, I'd like ice cubes up to, I don't know, 10 p.m., for instance.
Okay.
So it will continue to produce ice cubes until 10 p.m. and then stops.
Oh, nice.
And whatever is in the basket will melt away when you're not using it. So the reservoir for the next day will be filled again.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. It's not like that it keeps on going like a video I saw where people came home from holidays and they need to pry open their refrigerator and it all was filled with all ice cubes.
That's a good thing, right? I mean, the amount of water in the reservoir can never exceed the amount of space that is on top of it for the ice cubes for the created ice cubes. So it can't pile up, it can't explode, it can't overflow because there is never enough water in the machine to do that.
Okay, cool.
The design is really, really, really clever.
Nice.
And I just put some in my bottle. It's been they're gone by now, but I mean, it's wonderful, right? And if you don't have a huge fridge with an ice cube maker or an ice machine integrated, which, let's be honest, most people outside of the US don't.
No,
not really. I mean, you can use these little trays that you put in the freezer, and then you have to wait until they're frozen, and then you can take them out and push them out, and then you have to fill them again, and then walk back, and then litter half the floor with water, and wait for them again to be frozen. Or you can buy this little machine and just have them.
Nice.
You don't need to walk over with these trays and mop up after yourself.
Do you got a link for that? I want one.
There are several. I bought the one from a brand called Princess on Amazon, and Amazon's got several, but this is just one of the better ones, I'd say.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So I really, really like it.
Hmm.
And especially while we're moving up to warmer weather.
Yeah, exactly.
A nice tip for a cold beverage.
I think how many more questions can I ask before we get to my tip?
So
Well,
there we go. That's my tip.
actually, my tip is I'm not sure I've already talked about it. When we record, I often make a lot of shorts of this video, and not that I'm lazy. One of my managers called that being efficient. So I use software that's Opus Clip. I'm not sure if you ever heard of it.
No, my dad used to say only lazy people can be economical.
Well, yeah, actually, it's a good thing. I mean, as an organism, we always want to use the least amount of energy. So it's not crazy that you want to achieve that optimum balance. I hope he's not listening. Anyway, Opus Clip is a web service where it can pull out your YouTube video or your stream from your gaming or more like that. And it creates what it thinks are highlights of the video where it can go viral or not. And I hope we one day go viral, maybe in 10 years. And it actually makes a lot of interesting sound clips. And I put them onto YouTube. So when people see those clips and they think, well, those guys know what they're talking about, and then click on it and go to the complete podcast. So if you do similar things, Opus Clip is a very interesting choice to automatically create clips from your larger video.
I think this is just a hidden pitch for another AI product.
It actually is an AI product. You're correct.
There you go. I thought so.
But it's cool. And no, we're not sponsored. Otherwise, as soon as we are, I'm going to put the link under the description. But they haven't reached out, so too bad.
Maybe. Hint, hint.
So, with the tips out of the way, I think that's it for today.
I'd say we can wrap it up.
Yes. So, I'm AJ.
I'm Alex.
See you next time.